Right, I think it's rolling. Hi everybody, welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia, and in this week's lesson we are going to talk about some tips for leveling up your vocabulary. In this lesson I'm going to talk about some ideas. I'm going to talk about some ideas that you can use to learn new vocabulary words, to study new vocabulary words, and to improve your writing and your speaking in general by being more efficient and using higher level vocabulary. So I hope that everybody can find something in today's lesson, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced learner. So as you join, please make sure to hit the like button so that other people can find today's lesson. Give this a thumbs up. And of course, share this video so that other people can find it too. We'll begin in just a couple minutes. While we wait for others to join us live, a couple of announcements as always. First is about this banner at the bottom of the screen, free PDF cheat sheets. If you want to get these PDFs that I show you every week, you can click this link that's in the YouTube description right here. If you check the link on YouTube, it's below. If you check the link on Facebook, it's above. And you will find this page right here. Lots of people ask how to get the free PDFs that we show every week, So on this page, scroll down, you'll find these things that I always show you, right? These kinds of things, yeah. So you can choose from here. And to make sure you can download them, check this 1, 2, 3, 4 step part right here. Yeah, you should be able to get them there. So check that out if you want to get those PDFs and enjoy. So check that out. That is announcement number 1. Announcement number 2, as always, if you have questions for me, if you want to ask me something about English grammar, about culture, about a vocabulary point, something you've noticed, you can send it to me here. This is the Ask Alicia question and answer series on our YouTube channel. Please send them to me. This is at englishclass101.com/ask-alicia. There is a link in the YouTube description where you can send me your questions. So if you want to ask me something, send it there. I will definitely read your question, so please come check it out. And if you want to find me on social media, on Instagram or Twitter, this is where to find it. There's a link in the YouTube description. Hooray! Okay, so that's it for announcements this week. Facebook is okay, YouTube is okay, looks great. So I'll say hello to everybody. I'll go to YouTube first. Hello, Giancarlo, Espoir, hello. Adriel, hello. Daniel, hi. Tetsu, hello. Oh, first time joining the live. Welcome, Tetsuya, sorry. Luis from Argentina. Whoa, so many comments. Manuel, Miguel, hi everyone. Facebook is also here. Hi, Facebook. Oops. Hi, Facebook. Let me take this down real quick. Okay, Facebook. Sean, hello, welcome. Let's see, Sakamoto. Oh, did you join last week? Hi from Tokyo. Sikling, hi teacher, could you speak slower? Yes, I always talk fast at the beginning for announcements and things. I will go slow for the lesson. Okay, everyone is here. So let's get into the lesson topics then. Okay, also I'm going to share the lesson. Boop. And then we'll start. Okay, I shared it. Cool. So let's look at today's lesson boards. Today's topic is leveling up your vocabulary. This is what I have prepared for today. So first, we are going to talk about some ideas like flashcards, reading. Second, I have a writing tip for you and maybe a speaking tip for people who want to challenge themselves. And then last, some ways to maybe find new words that you might not think about, some different ideas other than textbooks or media. Also for today, I prepared some of my study materials to share with you so you can see and maybe get some ideas. Just maybe it's useful for you to see how I study. So let's begin with part 1 for today. So how do we level up our vocabulary? Okay, is everything okay? Facebook, are you okay? I see Facebook. Facebook is okay, I hope. Facebook is okay. Okay, let's get to part 1 for today's lesson. So part 1, let's begin with flashcards. Basic, very basic, right? A flashcard. Flashcards are great if you use digital flashcards, if you use handmade flashcards, whatever. Flashcards. So this is a great way to study new vocabulary, right? So if you use flashcards, remember, don't study the same list of flashcards forever, right? Make sure that you download a new list of words to study if you're using digital flashcards. Download a new list of words to study. So we have flashcard lists at EnglishClass101.com. We have a flashcard system you can use too. You can check that. Or if you use a different app, if you use something else, you can download a new list of vocabulary words to study. So make sure you refresh your vocabulary lists, yeah? Okay, so that's point one. Two, make your own word lists. Make your own word lists from media, from the news, from your hobbies, and so on. So make something that's like unique to you. If you know there's something you want to study, then you can find some words about that. So put them all in like a list of your own, and you can study with that. Okay? All right. So this, I want to show actually how I did this point. So studying with my own word lists. Okay, so in my case, what I did is I went to just my local stationery, my local bookstore, and I found these flashcards. So they have a ring. I think this was maybe like $1, something like that. So in my case, I went to the store and I bought this flashcard thing, this little study ring of flashcards, and I chose a website. I had a website with vocabulary words I wanted to study. So in my case, what I did to create my flashcards, I wrote one word. In this case, I'm studying Japanese. You can use it for English. So I put one word. Let me find a word that's good here. Okay, so I put one word in Japanese. You can use English on one side. And on the other side, I wrote my translation, the translation in my language, English. And then I also put a number on my cards. So each one, like this one is number 6, it's hard to see. But I put a number on these so that I remember how many words I've studied. So I like to do this style flashcard study because I can throw this in my bag and go. And yes, you can use like digital flashcards as well on your mobile phone or something. But for me, I know I get distracted sometimes. Like I want to like check Twitter or check social media, something like that, or maybe look at my email. So I like using these because if I'm going somewhere like on the subway or the train or in a car, I can take these out and study at any time, and they're very small. So this is what I actually do when I want to study something like targeted, okay? So this is my personal tip for flashcards, okay? Then the other point that's on this, the other point here, is about reading. Reading. This is point number 2 I want to talk about. So when you read something, make sure you're reading actively. So you can read books, you can read newspapers, articles, you can read online, you can read something in front of you on paper, okay? So you can choose something to read, and then as you read, you can write down or highlight new words you find. Write down or highlight new words you find. I'll show you an example of how I do this when I read something too. Okay? And then, as you read, make your own sentences with the new words. Make your own sentences. So don't only consume the information, try to make your own creation with those new words. And of course, review. So a lot of people, they read one time or listen one time, but we have to review to make sure we get and we keep all of the information. So I'll show you an example of how I do this, my kind of style for doing this. So in this case, I have a book here. This is just a normal book I chose at the bookstore. So when I want to focus on vocabulary, actually I know vocabulary is my weak point. When I want to work on my vocabulary, I will read a book. So I read the book, maybe you can see here, and when I find a word as I'm reading I don't know, I use a yellow highlighter and I highlight it right here. So there's maybe in this page 3 or 4 words I don't know. So I don't stop when I'm reading, but I mark the word, and then at the end of the page, or when I finish this part of the chapter, so maybe I finish reading this page, then I have a notebook where I write down my new words. I write down the new words I learned, and I check the dictionary for translation. Okay. So this is one thing that I do when I'm studying. So some questions are coming in about this then. Aula Ratam says, what kind of books do you recommend? Whatever's interesting for you. So a book that is interesting is the most important. You should want to read your book. Second, choose a book that's good for your level. So when I showed you this page, and okay, here's a different page. I showed you a page, and on this there's maybe like 1 or 2 words per page, maybe 3 or 4. So I try to choose a book that I can understand maybe 70 or 80% of pretty easily. So something that is too challenging is no good. Like if I make a mark every sentence, it's too difficult for me. So choose something that you feel you can understand maybe 70 to 80% of. If it's a children's book, that's okay. No problem. Like children learn from that. So that would be my recommendation. Something you are interested in and something that you can understand a lot of already. Okay? All right. I don't see other questions yet. I think Facebook is a little bit behind us today, but they'll catch up. Okay. All right. So those are the first 2 points. So we'll take one quick break and then we'll go to my really kind of interesting tip about your writing. Okay. So if you missed it earlier, real quick, there is this banner below the lesson frame here, but this free PDF cheat sheet banner. If you want to pick up some study materials to work on your vocabulary, you can check this out. This is the shopping one, but on the back, this includes some verbs, so shopping related verbs in this case. And so each one of these, each PDF here, has different vocabulary, different expressions that you can practice. So if you want to build your vocabulary, these could be a great way to do that. So check the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook, and you can download these. So check it out. I hope it's helpful. Okay. Let's go to the next part. So part 2 for today. Let's go to that, and we'll cover some writing tips in this one. Also, if you haven't, please make sure to like this video and share it too so other people can find today's lesson. All right, let's go. A writing tip. So to level up your vocabulary, there is a great tip you can use, which is to stop using words like these. If you joined last week's live lesson, maybe you remember I talked about these words, intensifiers, yeah? Very, or really, or so. So a good way to level up your vocabulary or to practice using more difficult words is to stop using very, or really, or so before adjectives. So you can send your ideas in the chat. What do I mean by this? So in your writing, this is easier for writing, but you can try it in speaking if you like. When you want to say, for example, this food is very good, like for food. So don't write, oh, this is very good. Try delicious. So delicious means very good, right? But it's one word. So we become more efficient. We use one word instead of 2. And this word is like, we think of these as like higher level words than just this. So let's look at some more examples of this. How do we change these two words into one? Like so beautiful. We could say, oh, that's so beautiful, or that's gorgeous. Gorgeous. So gorgeous is like so beautiful. These two words together. Here's another one. Really hard. This game is really hard. We could say it's complicated. Complicated. And you could choose a different word here as well. Another example, something is very bad, it's terrible, it's terrible, it's awful. So this is the idea. Instead of saying very or so or really, try to use one word, just one word. Some more. I'm so tired, we could say I'm exhausted. So exhausted means so tired. Or really funny, we could say hilarious, that's hilarious. So think about these ways that you can combine, like put these two words together to make one word. This is a good way to build your vocabulary. And you can do this, as I said, when you're writing. Try this when you're writing. If you want an extra challenge, you can try this when you're speaking, but it's it's sometimes difficult to remember very quickly, even for me, to use to follow this rule. So this is a really good tip to improve your vocabulary when you're writing. Okay. Javier has a good one in the YouTube chat. Very important could mean crucial. Crucial. Okay, good. So here's a tip. Yeah, and this is the key point here. Practice using one higher level word, one of these words, to express yourself instead of two basic words. So just check your writing. Yeah, when you finish writing something, do a check. Do like a very so really check. Did you use that word? And how can you make it one word? So look for this pattern. Okay. Ali Reza S says, any tips for teaching vocabulary? Sometimes I find it difficult to teach vocabulary. Do you mean like in an in-person lesson? Because what I did, like in the past, what I've done when we are working on new vocabulary in the classroom is the students, I hope, I always want the students to read the information before the lesson. So I ask them, or I expect them to come to the lesson. They read that lesson's information. They take notes before the lesson and have some questions. So they are prepared before the lesson. And then at the beginning of the lesson, I review the key vocabulary and I share any small points to review what they already studied at home. And then they can ask me questions that they had. And then finally we do some practice in the lesson where I try to pinpoint, we do speaking practice in the lesson where I try to pinpoint those vocabulary words. So choosing especially common vocabulary words or maybe tricky vocabulary words, we do some speaking practice with those. And then I send them like an email or a report after the lesson that uses some of those keywords as well. So review is a key point. So I hope that helps you thinking about your studies for teachers as well, teaching and studying. Okay. Guillermo says, what about formality? Is the two-word form less or more formal than the version with just one? A good question. I wouldn't say like it's not impolite to say, oh, this is very, very beautiful, or this is very good. It's not impolite to say that. I would say maybe so beautiful it can sound a little bit casual, but it depends on your kind of attitude and your tone of voice. Like if you go to a nice dinner party and you say, wow, your home is so beautiful, that's very polite. That's a very nice comment. So it kind of depends on your tone of voice a little bit, but there's not really a formality difference here. Someone on YouTube says, can I say haggard instead of very tired? You can. So haggard also refers to the way someone looks. So if someone looks really tired, like their face is kind of drooping and their hair is super messy and they're like really grumpy or something like that. That's someone who's haggard. Yeah. Okay. Good, good, good. All right. Thank you for your questions. Okay. So this is my second tip for today. I think this is a good tip for writing. All right. We'll take one more quick break and then we'll go to my last group of tips, and I'll show you some other stuff from my study notebooks and maybe you'll get some ideas. So if you missed it, please don't forget to check the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook, to find free PDF sheets you can use to build your vocabulary. Here's a different one. Here's a time planning one. Yay! Everybody loves to plan time, right? So here are some vocabulary words on the back for making plans and talking about time. Don't forget your prepositions down here. So you can check these out. Choose a topic that looks interesting to you. Maybe this one is good, as our lessons are online. So check these out. You can download all of them if you like, and the team is adding new PDFs all the time. So check it out sometimes. If you haven't checked in a while, take a look and see if there's something new. Okay. Egdiel, Kalina, what is the best way to learn through a book? I talked about that in part 1 of today's lesson. So after this stream, you can watch part 1 to get some tips about how to use a book to read, or to learn, how to practice learning new vocabulary with a book. Okay, let's go to the last part of today's lesson. Here we go. So, to level up your vocabulary, first, write with new words. Write with new words. So in part 1, I talked about flashcards, and I talked about reading and creating new word lists for yourself, right? The next part is to write with new words, to write with new words. So for example, you can make a diary or a journal for writing practice. So make sure you create with the new words. Don't just consume them, don't just input, also output, to make sure you can level up your vocabulary. Okay? Then try creating questions with new words. This is something that I do that's really challenging sometimes, but I like to do this because it forces me to think in new ways. So try creating a question with your new word. And then of course, review. So whatever you write in your journal or on a piece of paper, make sure you come back and look at it again. Finally, another idea, try translating a sentence or a paragraph. I'll show you an example of this in just a second. But if you are reading like an article or a book or something, and you think, oh, this is kind of interesting, how would I say this in my language? You can, after you read, you can try to translate it yourself. If your translation is not perfect, it's okay. You're just studying, just practicing, right? So I'll show you an example of how, I'll show you some examples of how I practice writing for beginners, for intermediate, and for more advanced learners. So first, if you want to practice just like very basic steps, like creating letters, you can just do lots of repeated study. So in this case, because I'm studying forever, I'm studying Japanese, I just practiced making characters many times. And this helped me a lot. So if you are practicing nicer English writing, you can do this with big letters or with small letters if you're super beginner. But for making sentences and vocabulary practice, so I showed you this earlier. Like I choose keywords that I don't know from the book. In this case, I write the page number. This is just for me. I write the page number and I write the vocabulary word I don't know. And then I look it up. And then later, I'll often make a sentence with it. So let me find an example for you of a sentence that I made later. Okay, so here we go. So further, this is a different topic, but after I research some new words, I actually make questions myself, and they don't have to be perfect, but I make my own questions inside my study journal so that I'm reusing the vocabulary many times, yeah? So these questions, I know it's in a different language, but this is my study process, so maybe it works for you. So I find words I need to study, and then I make questions with those words on another page later. So this is how I approach vocabulary studies. So maybe this is something that can help you with your English studies, yeah? So lots and lots of review, lots and lots of repetition. Okay, so that is my personal tip. Maybe it's helpful for you. Let's go then to the last point for today. The last point for today, I see some comments from Facebook. I think that Facebook is going a little bit slow. Sorry about that. There was some kind of Facebook issue. I think the lesson is okay there now. Okay, so let's go to the last point that I have for building your vocabulary. The last tip I have is one that was very, very helpful and is very helpful for me. It's to read social media updates. Why? Okay, so social media updates from your friends or from people that you're interested in are really helpful because you can find slang, you can learn different communication styles, and you can find real conversations about everyday life situations. So you can see how people communicate and the kinds of vocabulary words different people use. So you can find a lot of words that maybe you wouldn't find in a book or in a magazine article, right? You can understand someone's personality a little bit better. So if you have an English-speaking friend, or if there's like an English-speaking celebrity or someone interesting, maybe your favorite athlete, something like that, you can follow them and start to look at the ways they use words. This was really helpful for me. Like I check my friends or people I'm interested in, like their social media updates, and I've learned new words just from checking my friends' like Instagram posts. Like I look it up later, like what does that word mean? And then I get a new vocabulary word that I know they use, so I know it's probably useful for me to know that word. Okay, good. And also a point. It's okay if you don't understand 100% of the social media update. It's okay if you don't. Like at first I didn't. I saw all this information and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so difficult. I don't understand. But after studying, when you see it every day, you see the updates every day, sometimes there's pictures and so on, you start to learn how to use those words. So this is another really great way to level up your vocabulary and learn some new words. Okay, so I hope that this is helpful for you. All right, that's everything that I have for today. Your questions. Imed says synonyms can help us to learn more words that have the same meaning. Yeah, what do you think? Sure, I would say I agree generally. I think, you should be a little careful with synonyms because sometimes if you check a thesaurus, so a thesaurus is like a dictionary, but for words with similar meanings, just make sure you understand the situations in which you need to use a word, right? Sometimes you can get in trouble if you use a word you think is a synonym, but it's not quite a synonym, okay? Other questions about building vocabulary. Someone says, I don't understand, say it again. This is being recorded, so please check the video archive after this lesson. Okay. Rodrigo says, if we're watching movies without subtitles, not legend, but subtitles, if we're watching a movie without subtitles, is it good to learn faster? This is a tough question. Everybody is a little bit different. So subtitles on like a movie or a TV show, you can choose subtitles in English, you can choose subtitles in a different language, you can watch with no subtitles. I think there are benefits to every single one, right? So it depends on the skill I think you want to build and how comfortable, like is it easy for you to understand the movie or the TV show? If it's really hard for you to catch all the words the characters are saying, maybe try turning the subtitles in English on to catch the words, and then turn it off and watch again. So again, just reviewing. These are all study tools you can use to review and to get the information you need and the practice you need in different ways. Yeah, so I hope that helps you. Someone says, what books do you recommend? I've answered this like twice, I think, in this live stream, I guess. There's no one perfect book. You need to choose something interesting for you and at the right level. So watch this from the beginning if you want some more ideas for that. Okay? Could you pronounce also? Also, I hope that helps. Okay. All right. So I have to finish up for today's lesson. I see lots of people on Facebook writing hello and thanks. Cool. Yeah, someone had a question about this thesaurus. It's a hard word to say. A thesaurus is a good tool to use. I use a thesaurus from time to time. You can find an online thesaurus, just like a dictionary. So if you want to practice this tip that I said, where you want to use a different word here instead of very good or so beautiful, you can use a thesaurus to do that. But if you're not sure about the word you find in the thesaurus, you can do a check, like a dictionary check. Check an online dictionary for some example sentences. Okay, let's finish. So let's finish there. Thank you for your great questions. We need to end though. So I will share the information for next lesson. All right, next week I'll be on spring vacation. Oh my gosh, I will be gone next week, but I'll be back the week after that with a super good lesson. Next lesson will be May 12th. So I will not see you next week. I hope you enjoy your reading studies though, or social media. You can check social media updates in the meantime. So enjoy a 1-week holiday from our lessons. Next week, yeah, May 12th, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. If you don't know your local time, please use your great Google skills and find it. Or you can set a notification on YouTube or on Facebook. Or if you follow me on Instagram, I always post an update and a topic reminder in my stories, so you can find the live information there. The next lesson, I'm going to talk about common preposition and adjective combinations. For example, angry with, or afraid of, or scared to, and other things. So I wanted to cover like these little prepositions, and how we use these in everyday life, because in your comments I noticed there are lots of very, very small errors, and we can practice them together to fix them. So please join me again in 2 weeks for this lesson, and have a very nice break next week. Okay, so I will say goodbye for this time. So don't forget to check out some free stuff from below the video. You can review that next week if you like. And have a great day. Have a great week. Thanks very much for joining me this week. If you want to send me questions or follow me on social media, you can check the link in the YouTube description. So I will say goodbye for now and see you again soon.